Hey everyone, I'm Amanda with Sweet Pieces, and we are here today at our afternoon demo day. We are getting ready to demo gel stain and mirror effects. Are you guys excited?
Yes, we are.
So it's a beautiful day here at Sweet Pieces. If any of you are thinking of coming down, we are not going anywhere. We do have a giant building here, even if it does happen to, do that R word. But it's looking beautiful. So definitely come on down, see what we're doing. We're here, we got lots of people here ready to see gel stain. So how many of you have a project in mind for gel stain? Okay, and then the rest of you are just kind of like, I want to know a little bit about this product. All right, so what is gel stain? Gel stain is a product that allows you to create a wood stain look without having to completely strip the surface down. How many of you have used regular stain? Okay, so I've also used regular stain, and this is like back in the day before I knew about all these fabulous products that make the fact that I'm half lazy. It's a good thing when you're half lazy and you use these products because you don't have to do a lot of work, and that's the whole point of it. When I would stain with other products, if the wood wasn't conditioned properly, you would get blotchiness and patches, and it didn't come out right. With gel stain, you don't have to worry about that. It can, you can basically just go over anything and it's going to look pretty consistent. So something I want to talk to you about, gel stain is an oil-based product, okay? So this is different from the other products that we carry, different from the chalk paint, in the sense that it does have an odor, which is why I'm doing our demo day outside here, and it does take a long time to dry. So it's about a 6 to 8 hour dry time in between coats. So here's the other thing about oil. When you open a can that's an oil-based product, oxygen gets in there, you put your lid back on, the oxygen is now inside of the can. What that oxygen does is it starts to cure the product that's sitting there, the product that you paid money for. And then this happens. So your cans, this has happened to us, I can't tell you how many times. Customers will complain about this. I bought this can and then I opened it and it was all hard inside. And we were like, oh my God, what do we do about this? So we found a solution. And the solution is Bloxygen. So Bloxygen, what it does is it basically blocks the oxygen. So you take this cute little straw, you stick it on the end here, you put your lid on the can. This is when you're done using it. You stick it in there, you spray Bloxygen for 4 seconds, you close the lid. What that does is it pushes the oxygen out, it replaces it with another gas that's heavier than oxygen, argon. The argon sits on top of your product and protects it. So it will not begin to cure. They will stay completely perfect for years. Bloxygen also works for avocados, wine, coffee beans, olive oil. It works for all of that fun stuff. It's totally food safe. It's actually used in the food industry, but it also works on our wonderful products. So this is now something that we carry here to protect your oil-based products. Only for oil-based. So you don't want to use this on your water-based products. Only oil-based. In the Sweet Pieces line, it's only gel stain that you're going to use. So let's talk about applying gel stain. So how do you apply gel stain? You can use a brush. You can use a foam guy, which is like what I like to use. And what I'm going to do here is, Elisa, would you run inside and grab me a 4-inch foam brush? So before you got here, I spent about 10 minutes sawing that hard top of my gel stain off of there, and then I had to throw it in the garbage. It looked like a biscuit. It had like 4 layers on it. It was like this thick. So that was, this little can is 20 bucks. That was probably about $5 that I threw out in the garbage. So, just keep that in mind. I'm really excited that we found an actual solution to using that product. So this is antique walnut. Now, yesterday I had my team here lightly sand this console table. So when you're using gel stain, you don't have to totally strip the surface, but you do want to lightly sand it. So I gave it a quick light sand, we wiped it down, and now I'm going to dip. I'm just going to get a brush right. All right.
Can you,
rag.
if you're
Yeah?
taking, cleaning a sandage product, can you recommend using a tack cloth or something to get all the sand particles, or?
Yeah, you can. We do carry them. It is good. It is going to help to get all those sand particles off there. Using a tack cloth is what she was asking about. Not a bad idea. So I poured a little bit of my gel stain out onto a plate because with these larger foam brushes, you can't get that in the container and it kind of gets a little bit messy. In the last video, I forgot to get a paper plate and I used the stir stick to kind of baste it, and that was fine, but you wouldn't want to do that at home. So I'm going to take my big brush here and I'm basically going to paint this on. Now, there's two different ways you can do this. This morning when I did this, I put it on very thinly and I just really spread it. But the other way that you could do it is you can put this on a little bit heavier. How many of you have these light wood tables? Anybody have this light wood in their house? You know, it's kind of, it's going out a little bit, so, you know, this is nice to be able to deepen it up, darken it up a bit, give it a little bit of a richness. If you want to do it really light, you can just take this and kind of wipe it. You know, you can then take your rag and just start rubbing it around the edges. This particular color, by the way, that I'm using is called Antique Walnut. So this is one way you could do gel stain, okay? Now you can see that spot there, it's gonna show up. So if you want this to be a totally perfect surface, you do need to, you know, do some prep work. But before we got on camera here, I was talking to this group of ladies here and telling them that I try to work with what I have. You know, I had a little spot here. This might have been some sort of a tape. You know, there's like a water stain here. You know, if I know this isn't gonna work out, then I'm basically gonna just work with what I have. I'm gonna layer this, I'm gonna do some things to kind of hide that, and I'm not gonna get crazy about it, because I like to just get things done. We wanna do it fast. So I'll show you, I'll go over this a little bit heavier, because I do want this surface to be a little bit heavier. We'll add a little bit more. And this product does go a long way. You know, you're going to get, you know, especially if you use Oxygen, you're probably going to get a couple, you know, small pieces of furniture out of that one little pint jar, and then out of your quart jar you could definitely get a few more pieces. So just take a look at what's going to happen here. When I go back over this area where I already worked, do you see how this is getting very light? So it's almost like reactivating it, and it will pull it back up. So that's another tip. So like if you feel like, oh, this area is too light or it's too dark, you want to kind of go over it. If I really start rubbing this, I can completely push away or add more product to that area. So you just want to kind of be careful. I definitely, on a large surface like this, would use like a bigger brush, because if you use a smaller brush, it's going to take forever. And this product does stay wet for a long time. Well, I shouldn't say that. It stays wet for several hours, but it is like a little bit slick, so you can kind of work with it. You know, on a larger surface, it's a little bit easier to work with. And you can kind of just work it into all the areas. Questions? Any questions?
Exactly, yeah.
I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have an old farm table pine that's starting to turn orange.
Okay.
And could I use this on it without doing a whole strip first?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's probably been waxed, you know.
Yep. So what I would do is I would clean it with like denatured alcohol, which you can get at any local hardware store. We may start carrying it here because we're starting to recommend it a little bit more. Clean it, give it a light sand, wipe it with a tack cloth, and then use one of the gel stains to go over it.
I don't have to strip off all the wax.
You don't have to strip off all the wax, no. And I mean, ideally, if you could take off some of the wax, majority of the wax, that would be good. You can do that using mineral spirits, or like we carry an odorless solvent because I just don't like, you know, the odor. And that should basically remove the majority of it, so it wouldn't be too much work to even do that. So do you see here, like I do have some brush strokes, but I'm kind of just, I'm taking this and I'm just feathering it out. I am doing this, I always tell customers, I don't push my brushes, right now I am, because I'm trying to get the excess stain off, but this here, I'm very light. I don't have a really stiff wrist. You know, I'm very loose with this. You want to be very loose, very gentle. And I work the same way with chalk paint. I always just kind of like feather it, and I'm very loose. If you're uptight, then have a glass of wine before you start, and then you'll be okay. What else do we want to say about gel stain? So let's talk about how do you finish gel stain, okay? So if you have now, you've done your gel stain and now you're ready to finish it, what do you do? So we like to use General Finishes High Performance Top Coat. It's an excellent, excellent top coat. We carry it in 3 different finishes: flat, satin, and gloss. And basically you need to wait because gel stain is oil based, okay? And High Performance Top Coat is water based. So you're going to 2 different finishes. So you need to wait until this is dry. And we usually tell people about 72 hours. And that's gonna really vary depending on the weather. Like right now when it's really humid, it's probably gonna take a lot longer than 72 hours, especially if you leave it outside. It might take a week. It might take 2 weeks. You know, you'll know because when you touch it, it will be, you know, you'll be able to basically move that finish around, which you don't want that. You do want it to be nice and set by the time you're ready to seal it up. And basically that High Performance Top Coat, you can apply that with either a foam brush, you can apply it with a roller, you can apply it with a regular brush. The best way to apply High Performance Top Coat is a sprayer. If you don't have a sprayer, then one of those other options is perfectly fine. I had a lady this morning who asked about, you know, are you gonna get any brush strokes in your finish? You know, if you are not using a sprayer, you're always gonna get a little bit of brush strokes. But, you know, 10%, you could probably get down to 10%. But, you know, a sprayer is always gonna give you the finest, like factory kind of a finish. I never really worry too much about that because we're not usually going for a factory finish. We want it to have a little bit of character and age to it.
When you say sprayer, do you mean like an aerosol can of spray or a special?
Yeah, so like a paint sprayer. And I use one on occasion. I do spray chalk paint sometimes, especially if I'm doing like a whole dining set, like chairs that have like a lot of spindles. I mean, I've painted a lot of spindle chairs in my day, and I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And a sprayer is the way to go. So we actually use a Wagner Project sprayer. It's like $69.99, and it works fantastic. It's not hard to clean as well. I don't know. If you use chalk paint, it's not hard to clean. But you all know that chalk paint is super easy to clean anyway. Like, it cleans out of the brushes so nicely. But it cleans out so easily. It really does. There's like 4 or 5 parts that come out of it, and you just, you know, clean them with soap and water, and they're clean, and that's it. It's easy peasy. It plugs in. You don't need like a compressor or anything like that for it. It's really easy to use. So you could, that's the kind of sprayer. You could also get like more of a professional sprayer and have that hooked up to like a compressor. You could use that as well. Any other questions?
Will you leave it that color, or will you darken it more?
No, I'm definitely going to darken this more. I'm probably going to layer some glazes on top of this. Glazes can be layered on top of gel stain. They can be layered on top of chalk paint. Glazes are water-based. You can actually, we have a couple of general finishes glazes. We have a brown, we have a black, we have a white. You can also make a glaze from any of the chalk paint colors using another product that we carry called Scumble. That's an artisan enhancements product. We have another class about glazes, and I might do a demo day. Would you guys like a demo day on glazing? Would you like a demo day on glazing?
Yes.
Let us know in the comments. If you go inside, in between the two giant walls of paint, there is a server, and it has a gray top and it has glaze on top of it. So that was done with a gray gel stain, and then we layered the brown and the white and the black glazes on top of it. So you can take a look at that to kind of just see the kind of effects that you can create with it. So lots of fun. Any other gel stain questions? Yeah?
Can you use a light stain over a dark surface?
Good question. Not really. You have to, you know, I just had a lady here too, she was asking the same thing. It might lighten it slightly, but it's not gonna, you got, what you can do though, what we have done, we've painted it with chalk paint and then put the gel stain on top of it. You could do that. But then you have to kind of create the wood graining effect, which you can really do with the gel stain on top of the chalk paint.
And then distress look.
Exactly, and then you can even layer the glazes, which that will give it that look as well. So you can do that, yeah. And I don't know if I said this, I can't remember if it was this morning or this afternoon, but I'm doing this outside because it is an oil-based product, it is smelly. You know, if you're doing it inside, it's okay, just make sure you have ventilation. Open up your windows, but it does have I don't know if you guys can smell it, but it does have an odor to it. All right, any other questions? No? All right, cool. Yeah, go ahead.
You said check your cans.
Yeah.
I have a can at home, haven't opened it. Is it going to be hard when I
Probably.
open it up? Really?
Yeah, but you know what?
What do I do?
Okay, so this is what you do. You take a knife, a plastic knife, and you cut that. It's just going to be the top layer. Now, the longer you leave it, the thicker the layer is going to get. It's going to start to cure down. So you can cut that top layer off, and then you can put the Bloxygen in it, and the rest of it will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you leave it open, or should you keep closing it and putting Bloxygen?
No, it's fine. If you're working with it and it's like an hour or so, that's fine. But if you're, you know, once you close that the oxygen inside, then it's going to start to harden and cure. Yeah. Good? All right. So, Elisa, can you come help me really quick? I am going to move this table out of the way. If you ladies wouldn't mind just scooting, I'm going to just slide this right over here. Okay. Phase 2. We're going on to phase 2 here. We're going to work with mirror effects. So, mirror effects. I'm really excited about this product. We're having a lot of fun with it. This is what we do at Sweet Pieces. We always, we're looking for the latest, greatest thing, and we're trying to find all the tips and tricks. So I got some tips from some of the ladies this morning. One lady said, could you tape off the glass before you spray it to create like a design? And I said, yes, of course you could do that. So that's an idea. I actually came across this product last year. I was redoing my bathroom, and I had salvaged these china cabinet doors. They had that beautiful bubble glass, and they had these beautiful inlays. And I thought to myself, I can't get rid of these doors. They're fabulous, but what the heck am I going to do with them? Well, they sat on the in my hallway, stacked up against another piece of furniture for a long time. Like, so long, my husband was like, are we ever getting rid of these things? What are we doing with them? So I'm renovating my bathroom, and I'm standing in there one day, and I'm like, what am I going to do in here? And it hit me. It was like the two perfect areas to inset these doors right into the wall. I had built-in medicine cabinets made, and those are the doors. But they're clear glass, so I needed to make them not clear so I don't have to see all my junk inside. So I thought, how can I make these a mirror? It's that beautiful bubble glass. I didn't want to replace it. I didn't want to spend the money, quite frankly, to replace it. I got myself a can of Mirror Effects, some alcohol, and a can of metallic spray paint, okay? And this is what I did. I basically layered the alcohol and the mirror effects back and forth, probably about 5 different times. And then the last thing I did was spray the metallic spray paint. We are going to be getting some of this in so that we can do this whole process with the mirror effects. So this was a piece of glass, just a plain piece of glass. It was not a mirror. We sprayed it with the mirror effects, and then we added this vinyl decal on here to be Long Island. This morning what I did, you could still kind of see through it this morning. I don't think you really can now, but what I did was I sprayed this on after, on the back. So even if there's just a little bit of hint of like see-throughness, you can just spray the spray paint and that kind of just evens it out a bit. Are you with me? Okay, I'm getting some head nods here. So I'm going to take this down. I'm going to show you, so this is the one I did this morning, okay? And this is what this looked like before. So pretty cool, huh? Like totally different. So this one here is probably 5 layers, and they dry really fast. So we don't have, you don't have to like wait forever. Okay. So you want to spray the back of the piece that you're going to be spraying so that the finished part is the front part, okay? So the way that I like to do this is I spray a little bit of alcohol in my hand, okay? And I flick it onto the glass, and then I spray this. Okay, so that's one coat. That will take several minutes, just a few minutes to dry. More alcohol. I just want to get it so that it's just evening. Okay. So do you see, the point of the alcohol is to kind of make this like this dotted kind of an effect, almost like a mercury glass. This stuff is smelly, so make sure you do it outside. I get yelled at on my YouTube channel. You probably will also want to wear a mask. So I'm just flicking the alcohol on. And I'm spraying. And then I'm basically going to repeat that process probably 4 more times. So this will take me, I don't know, 10 minutes or so to do it. And I was talking to this morning that really it's best if you lay it down flat. If you spray too much, like I did this morning, you will get like a little bit of drippage happening. But if you can lay it down flat, that's really ideal, and then you can really kind of get in there. So by now, this is basically dry. The other thing too that you can do, and I did this when I was working on it at home, I took a rag, and I would definitely use a shop towel, one of the blue rags, because that doesn't have any lint in it. And I kind of like blotted it up like this, and after I sprayed a coat, I kind of went in and just dabbed it a little bit, and that will also help to kind of remove where those flecks of the alcohol are. And then again, that's when I would use the metallic spray paint after it's all done to just kind of fill that in, so that those areas aren't totally see-through. You know what I'm saying? So now I do want to flip this down. Let me just take those away. I'm going to flip this down, and I'm going to continue my process. If you ladies want to come closer, feel free.
So you keep putting the alcohol in.
Yeah, I'm going to keep layering the alcohol with each layer.
And spritzing even from far away is too much?
You know what it is? We found, Julie actually found this trick. When you flick it, it makes bigger spots. If you missed it, they're so small, you don't see them quite as much.
Why don't you just do one?
And if you don't use the alcohol at all, you get it.
It's
really,
more straight.
It really looks like a mirror?
Well, the Long Island one I showed you, we didn't use any alcohol. What'd you say, Julie?
Spray that with alcohol and show what happens. You
Yeah.
remove a lot of it.
Here, watch. If you spray this, see how it's just like almost the whole thing is covered? Yeah. So what I had done this morning, what I had done this morning was like my first 2 or 3 coats I did alcohol, and then the next coats I didn't. So you can kind of just play around with it.
One can would cover how many windows?
I would say probably 3. Like this is the same, yeah, this is the same can that I used this morning. This was a brand new can I opened. And there's still a good amount in there. I know, it's smelly. What did I say this morning? Remember those little like balloons? Like they had the little plastic straw. Doesn't it smell like that? I'm like, it's the same thing. We were all inhaling this as kids. Okay, so now I think I'm just gonna spray. And you know, the key anytime you're spraying like with spray paint, you want to do like short strokes. You don't want to put too much at one time because then you're going to get globs.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So let's see how that looks. Pretty cool, right? So it's like, you know, I was saying before that like if you pay to get like antique glass put into something, it's a lot of money, you know. And to do something like this with a can of Mirror Effect, $12.95, and some glass, it's just such a quick and easy update. So I would say this probably needs like 1 more coat, and then I would just do like a light coating of the spray paint on the back of it just to kind of seal everything in. It looks like mercury glass, yeah, exactly. And you know, that's like a really fun look. So, any questions?
You can do vases.
Oh, you could do vases. I was saying this morning too that like, you know, we get flowers, right? And they come in those clear vases, and like, what do you ever do with them? You could make them look like mercury glass. It's so fun. You should really do the inside. You could put water in it. You, again, I would spray it with something like to set it. So some sort of either a clear coat or like just spray paint, like a glass spray paint. You could spray that on there just to put a color behind it. I think you could, yeah. Some of the ladies were asking about that this morning too. I think you could put chalk paint behind this.
That's what I mean, and you would get like a glimpse of
exactly. Like I'm thinking if we do graphite behind this, keep an eye out. I'm gonna put this on the website. I'm probably gonna do one of these with graphite on the back of it and see how it looks. Yeah, that would be really cool, definitely. What else? Any other questions? No? All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Demo day, gel stain and mirror effects. We are here today until 5 o'clock, although we're going to be packing up the parking lot around 4. So make sure you come on down. There's some sweet sales today. Are you ladies taking advantage of some of the sweet sales in there? Yeah. All right. So come on down. We can't wait to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Want to learn more? Subscribe now.